Hello, Paul with RGS Restorations, and today we're on video number 2 of the 3855 and why it potentially can suck as a cartridge for reloading. So we had video number 1, we talked about all the problems that you can have with it and what the solution is, and we went and we facilitated the fix on our chamber, and then we went to the range and we shot our same exact groups with powder that we shot on the original chamber, and we're going to see, did it help, did it not help? We're going to find out. So let's go to the range and see what we get. So we're at the range, and now we are going to try our first load, which is going to be the 12.5 grains of blue dot on our improved chamber, and we'll see how this works for our accuracy, what we get for a group. Here we go. All right, so that was our group with the blue dot, and it seemed to be not too bad. And now our other powder that we used was the 4227, and we are going to test that one right now. Okay, so that was our 4227, and I do believe we definitely had better results after fixing the chamber or recutting the chamber to be able to accept a bullet that fits the groove diameter properly on it, where when we started, if you remember, we were actually under groove diameter by 1/1000ths. Now we're about 1/1000 to 2/1000 over the groove diameter, which is ideally where you want to be. So that was our test. We'll go back into the shop and we'll kind of show some of the things that we did and discuss it and take it from there. So there were our range results, and I thought those were pretty good. I can't complain. I believe the one powder charge was just under an inch, and the other one came out to about 3/4 of an inch. And I know if you watch our first video, I only tried those two different powders with the same powder charge that I used in this video. What you didn't see is off camera, I did check different powder and different powder charges, and you know, going up above what I showed and below what I showed, and the ones that I just randomly picked for the video actually turned out to be the best powder charge for accuracy. The other ones actually got worse, and I think those were around, I'm going by memory now, but I think those were like maybe 2 to 3 inches. So we definitely improved upon that. So I'm going to have a link in the description that will take you back to the first video that's going to show all of what I talked about on why the 3855 just doesn't work well in a lot of circumstances with the old rifles and the old bore diameter, groove diameter, specifically the groove diameter, you know, they're so big compared to what the chambers are. So I'm going to have a link for that, but we're going to just maintain or keep discussing about what we did for the fix. So exactly what did we do with this rifle to make it start shooting better? And we simply just used a chamber reamer and we recut the chamber to a larger diameter right at the end of the cartridge in here to allow us to use the proper sized bullet. So in our first video, you'll remember I talked about what SAMI specs were for the 3855 and how they call out a 393 and 4/10 thousandths of an inch on the throat section at the very, you know, tip of the case, and how most of the time when you slug a barrel and you get a properly sized bullet, it's going to be way bigger than what you can fit in the case and get the action closed. And if we look at the SAMI specs here, if we take the maximum diameter bullet that you can get away with, a 380, using Starline brass at 7.5 thousandths wall thickness, that leads you to 15 thousandths. That comes out to 395. You're already just maybe barely scraping by able to get your loaded round in a chamber. Now, this rifle, originally the end of the chamber was miking out to about 395. So with a 380 bullet, I was coming out with absolutely no room to spare. And that was how it showed, you know, it was kind of spraying those bullets around a little bit. So the fix to that was we took a chamber reamer that is specifically designed to open that throat section of, well, not throat section, but the end of that cartridge case up to 4/10 of an inch. And that's going to allow us, with most of these old firearms, to be able to get a bullet that is the right size, going to fill the groove, and we'll get it in a case and in the chamber and working properly. So as you can see with our new chamber specs at 4/10 of an inch, you know, where this mic'd out at 381 in the groove, I needed to, if I wanted to stay 1,000ths over in the bullet, I needed a 382 bullet with the 15, gives us 397 thousandths. So on our new chamber dimension, that 4/10 of an inch or 400 thousandths, that is going to give us, you know, roughly around 3 thousandths play for that 382 loaded case to get in there. Now, one thing I did want to also mention is I showed on the first video, that's not one of them. Let me grab one here. This one is, and hopefully that will pick that up. If not, I'll definitely get another picture of it. But what's going to happen is if you full length resize your brass and you take a larger bullet, like in this case was the 380, and that's what's in here, it still flares out the end of that case something terrible. And it usually doesn't do it uniformly, so you have a uniform flare on the end of your case. Like if you were going to bell mouth it or something like that, it usually like pushes it off to one side, which is what they almost always do. That's just another thing that leads to inaccuracy. So in this instance here, I have a 382 bullet in once fired brass. So this brass was already fired in here from our prior test. And you can see on that, there's absolutely no flaring whatsoever of that case. So that brings up another quick point. I'm not going to get into a whole loading thing here on how to load for this. If you guys would like to see that, well, absolutely, I can do a whole segment on how to load for some of these straight wall cases. But the one thing I'm going to mention is do not full length resize. There's no need for it. And all it's going to do is it's going to crank, you know, the diameter of your brass down And you're going to start putting that 382 or 381 bullet or what in there. It's even going to make it worse. Yes, it will fit, but it's just not conducive to accuracy because things start getting out of alignment. So there's a better way to do it. And, leave comments below if you want to see how I do it. I will definitely show that. So this is with a 382 bullet, and we can see that in here, our dummy round, fits in there just absolutely perfectly fine. There's no scraping and anything. And that's how I shot it on the test. So I know from a couple of the comments in the first video, some people were worried about doing the fix, altering the chamber, how it would potentially devalue their firearm depending on other stuff that they read. And, I'm not here to say that you should or should not do it, but that I really don't, it's going to depend on how serious you want to get with it. If you don't fix the chamber issue so you can get the right diameter bullets in these things, you're never going to achieve, really good accuracy. So it comes down to just how serious do you want to be? I myself personally don't spend a lot of time casting quality bullets, lubricating, and going through all that effort just to chuck lead randomly downrange. I want to get the most accuracy I'm going to get. So for me, I don't have any problems altering the chamber. If you don't want to alter the chamber, your other option is we can rebarrel a rifle with a new barrel on it that's going to, use a SAMI chamber, have a 377 groove, and you're never going to have that problem. So that's an option. You can always take these things, take your old barrel off, save it, put a new barrel on there. You can drill it and tap it if you wanted to put nurdles on it or, one of the newer replacements or something like that. You can do whatever you want without, having any damage, and, you have the new barrel steel. So that's an option also. Not the cheapest by far. The most easy way is to recut the chamber, especially if you have a good barrel. Now, the barrel on this Winchester was really excellent, but someone had over the years really kind of messed this up. You can see, I think there's like 4 dovetails cut in it and a little bit was off of the muzzle, which is fine for what I'm doing. It's going to probably end up getting rebarreled anyway, but just to kind of make a video on what you can do with one of these with a really good barrel. They will shoot accurate. Winchester, Ballard, they all made good barrels. So whether or not, you want to cut a chamber is, like I said, that's always a very individual choice, but that is what we did here. Those are the results we got. And you can always put another barrel on, like we were just talking about, if you would rather go that route and not alter your factory original barrel. I wanted to take a quick moment to thank everybody for watching our video. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them below. What are your experiences with loading the 3855? In our last video, a lot of people were commenting they were running into the same problems that I was explaining, and it does happen. It's just a common thing with these. But if you like the video, please like and subscribe to our channel. It does help us grow and get our videos out to more people. So until we see you at the range again next time, happy shooting.